Capitol Hill. Representative Matt Gaetz from Florida has formally filed a motion to oust Speaker Kevin McCarthy. This would set up a dramatic vote in the chamber as Congress has just 6 weeks to avoid a shutdown again. I want to bring in NBC News senior national political reporter Sahil Kapoor. He joins us live tonight from Capitol Hill. And Sahil, before we get to you, I want to play a piece of sound we have from Representative Gaetz that just came in. Let's take a listen.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House.
The gentleman will state the form of his resolution.
Declaring the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives to be vacant. Resolved that the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives is hereby declared to be vacant.
Sahil, pick it up from there for us tonight.
Yeah, this is a huge moment in terms of the future of the House of Representatives. Matt Gaetz has officially filed the motion to vacate the speakership, effectively calling on the chamber to overthrow Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. Now, the vote has to take place within 2 legislative days. We don't know exactly when that's going to be. Matt Gaetz has been threatening this for a long time. He has never been a supporter of Kevin McCarthy. He's been a chief antagonist of Kevin McCarthy, and he argues that the government funding bill that Speaker McCarthy passed, relying in large part on Democratic votes, was the last straw for him. He's been accusing McCarthy of cutting a so-called secret side deal with President Biden on the issue of Ukraine aid, something that McCarthy emphatically denied to reporters multiple times today. So there's no secret side deal, simply that he's going to continue working on that issue separately outside the context of government funding. A huge moment here. It's going to come down firstly to whether Gaetz has enough Republican votes to make this threat credible. He's going to need at least 5 Republican votes, himself included, to ensure that McCarthy does not have enough Republican votes to stay in that speakership. But beyond that, it really could come down to Democrats. It could come down to whether Democrats vote with Gaetz to overthrow McCarthy. That would be the default setting. Democrats would want to vote for a Democrat to be Speaker of the House. It would be extremely unusual if they voted otherwise. But it is a live ball here as to whether Democrats vote present and essentially lower the threshold that enables McCarthy to survive with fewer Republican votes. Again, a huge moment here in the House of Representatives.
But Gaetz wouldn't want to push the power of the House over to the Democrats, right? So the theory would be he'd have enough votes and they'd be able to put a speaker that they'd want to post up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Gaetz's hope here is that McCarthy is deposed and Republicans regroup and end up picking another Republican speaker. He does not know who that is. We pressed him earlier today in terms of, who he would like to see instead as Speaker of the House. Gaetz does not have an alternative. He only says it's not going to be him, which is quite obvious to anyone who's here. That's one of Gaetz's big challenges. The lack of an alternative means McCarthy's hand is somewhat strengthened. Remember, he took 15 ballots to become Speaker of the House in the first place, and some McCarthy allies have told us that if he is removed, McCarthy could simply run again. He retains the support of most Republicans, but in this narrow majority, he needs nearly every last one of them.
Sahil, stand by for us. Representative Gaetz is speaking right now to reporters. Let's listen in.
But it's not a certainty.
Have you talked to anyone to gauge their interest on becoming Speaker if McCarthy?
I've had a number of people call me sua sponte to express their own interest.
Really? Can you name it?
I could, but I'm not going to.
Will you oppose?
Because I'm going to keep their confidence.
Will you oppose, and your allies who oppose Kevin McCarthy, will you block or vote against every Republican rule if he remains Speaker?
I haven't contemplated that.
Do you think the Republicans?
I will tell you this. I voted for the rules to get our approach bills to the floor, and I voted for those bills.
Do you think Republicans deserve to be back in the majority next year?
Absolutely.
Why? I mean, it's not really something voters would think about, that you guys are functional up here by this kind of fight.
Well, I mean, Manu, the big fight so far has been me introducing a motion to have a vote on whether or not Kevin McCarthy still has the confidence of the members of the House of Representatives. That's a very different thing than your 3rd grade teacher trying to tell your kid what gender they are. So I think that we deserve to be in the majority in large part based on the unacceptable option that is the alternative.
Are you concerned that you're going to frustrate some of your fellow Republicans to the point where they may want to raise the threshold to oust the Speaker at some point?
That's everyone's prerogative. Anyone can offer a change to the rules at any time.
How do you square Trump saying one thing to you and then saying something different publicly?
Okay, we've just been listening there to Representative Matt Gaetz from Florida, who has just triggered that vote to oust Speaker McCarthy. He's going to have to get the votes. We're going to have to wait and see in the weeks ahead if he has those votes to see what happens here. But a major move there on Capitol Hill tonight.